Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Help Me Out Please, who says, me, 18 female with my husband, 20 male. He wants me to give up all my birthday presents for vacation, and then gives me no say in said vacation. We got married when I was 17, partly because I was pregnant and partly because we were madly in love. Our daughter, Candice, 1, is the best, cutest, funniest toddler I've ever seen. I may be biased. He dropped out of college to get a full-time job as a line cook, and he's really good at it. I'm currently going to college fully covered thanks to my scholarships. He's done irrational things in the past, such as buying a $1,700 new computer and then complaining about having no money. He's disrespected me in the past by ignoring my opinions / swearing at me, but I've never been angrier than I am right now. Reddit, my husband asked me a couple of months ago to give up all my future birthday presents and instead asked for plane tickets to EVO, which a quick Google says EVO is a fighting game tournament, and says I was a little miffed, but I understood why he wanted to go as his friend lives in Vegas and was going too. So I said sure. Yesterday we were talking about the plans and he said that we were bringing Candice with us. I told him I didn't think that it was a good idea, as I've flown with her several times to visit my parents in New England, and I know how rough it is. I also told him that it wouldn't be as enjoyable for me if she came, as I'm her primary caretaker, and I didn't want to spend our vacation doing what I normally do except in Vegas. He got really mad at me, saying that he just wanted his friend and his friend's family to meet her. Later, when we were having dinner at my mother-in-law's, who I love very much, she asked if Candice was staying with her during our trip. He said no, we're bringing her to meet our friends. I told him that I really didn't want to do that, and mother-in-law said something like, wouldn't you have more fun with just the two of you? At which he got upset and said that they really wanted to meet her and that we should shut up. He also had put off changing Candice's diaper before we came to dinner and made his mother do it. Edit, she did not want Candice to suffer just because he didn't want to do it. Those two things combined made me incredibly angry, but I don't know what to do about it. He's done the diaper thing before, but this time it just seems so incredibly self-centered. Butterjutter says to the OP, no. If he wants plane tickets, he can work extra hours instead of you having to give up all your future presents. And by the way, you are also a parent of the child, so you get a say in where she goes and what she does, especially since you're taking care of the child more than him. If he wants his friends to meet your baby, they can come to you. OP replies saying, I feel like a live-in maid sometimes. He just doesn't seem to listen to anything I say. He used to split the chores with me, but that stopped a long time ago. Every time I tried to give input on big decisions, he steamrolled over me to the point where I don't think it's worth it to argue. The only time I've changed his mind is when he told me not to visit my parents for a visit that was scheduled 2 months in advance, because he said he would be lonely. I think he only let me go because my parents bought no refund tickets. I'm not going to be a baby factory though. Have an IUD put in as soon as possible after giving birth. Montal says, yeah, he's full of shit too. He has you give up all your birthday presents forever to go on a vacation that he wants to go on. You shouldn't have said yes to this, but on the flip side, he doesn't get to force you to do this either. Honestly, I'm boggling enough at the pure narcissism of exchange your birthday presents for a trip I want to take that I can't give you proper advice yet. Seriously, what the fuck? So we may cover a couple more comments in a moment because a lot of them are replying to the updates, which some of them are in the same post. So the first update says, just bought him dinner in hopes that he'd be in a good mood when it finished so we could talk. And he got mad at me for not having cut the chicken on his salad into small enough pieces. I stood my ground in a way by saying, I don't want to pick out all the chicken and cut it smaller. If I get you a knife, would that be okay? And he said, what the fuck? I'm busy right now and you can't do this for me. I don't want it anymore, just throw it away. This isn't uncommon, but he just seems so mad, and I haven't even tried to talk about it yet. Do you think he feels bad about yesterday, or is he just cranky from work? OP adds another update and says he apologized for yelling at me and we sat down and talked. I used some of the lines from the comments and he said that Candice doesn't have to come with us, but it would make him a little sad. I then sat down and started imaging on my tablet, and he sat next to me. But he got angry again when I scrolled too fast and he couldn't read something over my shoulder. I responded that I was reading it, not him, and he yelled that we were supposed to be spending time together. This is why I usually get steamrolled by him during arguments, because he starts getting mad and swearing at the weirdest thing, and I just want him to stop getting upset. But hey, he said that it's okay if Candice stays home, and that's what I came for. Another update says, wow, this blew up overnight. Okay, let me clarify a couple of things I saw mentioned in the comments. Yeah, he is like this sometimes, but the rest of the time, he's a good husband and father. He does change some diapers, but he has a tendency to push it on someone else if he can, which I don't usually get mad about. It's that he made us sit in the car like that after promising to change her, as I had dealt with a particularly nasty blowout that morning. He always apologizes if he yells. I just don't like the yelling and swearing in the first place, which I've told him. As to the chicken cutting, he's told me in the past to do that. I just forgot to cut it smaller this time, and I think he got mad because he's told me about it before. We have been to a marriage counselor, but he said that it really didn't do anything for him and that it wasn't worth the time and money. I'm talking to my older sister right now, and I've shown her this thread. I might show my mother-in-law, and she and I are very close. Opie adds another update in the same post and says, I talked to my sister and a close friend of mine. Both said that they've seen similar things happen while at my house, but they didn't think it was appropriate to speak up about it. They also advised me to show this to my mother-in-law, which I will do tonight. My friend has also said that if I need a place to stay, I can stay with her as she has a spare bedroom. I'm talking to both and then mother-in-law to decide what to say to him about all of this. And it's going to end with essentially, we need to work through this together or in individual counseling, or I'm going to live with friend until you've decided. Thanks for the support, everyone. I didn't realize that this kind of behavior wasn't normal. Or at least I thought it was balanced out by the good times. I'll update on Friday after I've talked to him. And we do have an update in a moment. The pattern in this is particularly sad, Opie realizing that she's in an emotionally abusive relationship that we've seen in many stories before, and Opie herself coming to terms with it, like at the beginning, just like sometimes he's doing irrational things and oh, what's he like, eh? To documenting herself in this post, a clear pattern of manipulation and control and verbal abuse at the same time. And for me, if I ever heard a family member was in that kind of situation, was to the point of she's having to cut up his chicken small enough for this knobhead to eat in the gentlest possible way, I'll be saying you need to get out of there right now. Listen to the way he's treating you. But OP did come in with a final update and said, well, it's been a while, but I feel like I should give you guys an update because of how drastically you've changed my life. And then shares the link to the original post and says, I'm getting a divorce. I'll give a quick summary of the past few months. We started marriage counseling, and I began to realize how selfish of a person he is. The therapist asked, what is the biggest problem you're having with your partner? To each of us. His response, well, I really don't like it when she fact checks me. It makes me angry because it seems like she doesn't trust me. My response was, I do not feel respected. He does not see us as equals and I can't continue being his emotional punching bag. Which was a line from one of the comments. Thanks guys. She told him after a month or so of sessions that he needed to seek individual therapy for his emotional instability because he kept lying and contradicting himself to the therapist. What's the point of going if you're going to pretend everything's fine and dandy? About October, I told him I couldn't continue the relationship. He was getting more and more aggressive and even punched a hole through our wall. He started throwing things and his fuse was incredibly short. So I told him I was done. It wasn't healthy for me and it wasn't healthy for our daughter. Skipping ahead a bit to my current situation. I've moved up with my parents. Divorce papers were filed about a month ago now, and luckily he agreed to all the things we discussed. I'm very glad there was no conflict on that front, but his mum is a divorce lawyer, so she wouldn't have let him mess around. Candice is very happy, because she gets to play with her grandpa anytime she wants. He's a stay-at-home parent. I don't really have any connections here other than my parents and brother, but that's okay. I feel so much happier just being away from him. Now I've just got to find a job. Someone asked about the actual initial Vegas trip and said, Mother-in-law ended up watching her after all, thank goodness. Oh, and I found a surprising ally in his best friend's wife. She pulled me aside at one point while I was there, Vegas, and said, "Does he always act like this?" We had a few long talks about relationship problems, and she helped give me a big boost in confidence. And all I can say in this is thank goodness Opie had a supportive system around her. We've seen loads of stories where, unfortunately, that's not the case. But also, well done to OP at the same time for recognizing what was going on in that situation and getting herself and her child out of that situation as well. She was totally right. It's not good for Candice as well as her. But now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from Pretty Story 9024 from the True Off My Chest subreddit and says, "My roommate sent me a condescending checklist and then lost her mind when I stood up for myself. I, female 22, live with a roommate, female 27, who frankly barely cleans. I'm the one who's constantly wiping counters, taking out the trash, doing dishes, cleaning up after her dog when she doesn't, all while working full time and trying to keep the peace. I don't nitpick, I don't complain every time I clean something up, I just try to do my part, and sometimes hers, so the place stays livable. But the one time she finally decides to clean, and by clean, I mean wipe the stove and toss out some trash, she texts me this long message while I'm at work, not to have a conversation, but to give me a passive-aggressive list of reminders about wiping the stove after I use it, putting my drinks away, emptying the dishwasher before she needs it, and sticking to some decor-only counter rule that she mentioned once forever ago, like it was a binding contract. She even made a weird point to say she cleaned out oil and asparagus in the trash, like that was some noble act that needed public acknowledgement. The message was condescending, and it honestly caught me off guard. I told her I got the message, and while I understood being overwhelmed, the delivery was unnecessary. I reminded her that I was pulling my weight and cleaning up after her and her dogs more than she probably realizes. I said if we're going to start keeping tabs, I'll just stop cleaning up her messes too. I also said her burnout isn't mine to carry, that we both live here, and I shouldn't have to walk on eggshells or be guilt-tripped just because I'm in the same space. She came back defensive, accusing me of overreacting, saying she was just asking me to pick up after myself, and called me a little girl, having feelings about how she talked to me. Then we ended up fighting in person, where she kept gaslighting me, telling me I was delusional and twisting everything I said. I snapped and called her a bitch. Not proud of it. That part crossed the line, and I owned it. I sent her a respectful apology for the name calling. I told her I shouldn't have said that, but I stood by the boundary I was setting. I let her know I wasn't going to keep going in circles, and that all I wanted was for us to live respectfully and decently, nothing more. Her response? "You fucked up real bad. You're gonna want to bite your tongue next time, little girl. You extremely crossed the line beyond my boundaries. Keep your apology and stick it up your ass, delusional bitch. Don't stop going to therapy either." So that's where we are now. I guess I struck a nerve. I've been trying to be the adult, do my share, and not make everything a thing. But the one time I speak up and set a boundary, I'm suddenly the problem. She acts like I'm a monster for reacting to her disrespect, when all I've been doing is trying to live peacefully in a space we both pay for. I'm tired of walking on eggshells around people who can dish it but lose their mind when it's handed back to them. I'm not perfect, but I've been fair. I've tried, and now I'm just done. Thanks for letting me get that out. AE says, "Any way to find a new place to live?" Opie says, "My lease ends soon, and I already have my next apartment in mind. She threatened to end the lease now, but I can't afford it, and I'm not sure if she can either." Linzava says, "That's why. You guys are already planning to part ways. She can't deal with mild abandonment issues, so she picked a fight and dug in as hard as she could." Opie says, "I had a weird dream about her begging me to renew the lease with her." Fish Obsession says, "I had a roommate like yours. I tried cleaning after her and not cleaning after. Doesn't matter. She never changed. I ended up kicking her out. My house. I lost a good friend all because she wouldn't take responsibility for cleaning her messes and breaking everything in my house. Some people never change, and it's best to get out. Opie says she's been like this since we moved in, so I realized quickly that there's no compromising with her. But I also love a clean space, so I do my part as much as I can. I'm just blindsided by the way she reacted and the words she used. I mean, I think this has already got to the point where, once your lease is up, you get out of there, and it's quite as simple as that, and you just, play it cool until then. Minimal interaction. Don't engage with her attempts to bait you into any more kind of drama, and stop cleaning up after her. But OP came back into the post and said, "Hey everyone, first off, thank you so much for the love and support on my last post. I didn't expect it to get so much attention, and honestly, reading your comments really helped me feel less alone. Life has been chaotic, and I wanted to give an update on where things stand. A couple of days after the fight with my roommate, where she disrespected me after I apologized, I slowly started moving my stuff back into my room. One of those things was my Snapware Pyrex set from Costco. I'd originally let her use, but it's mine, and I always intended to take it with me when I moved out. Anyway, I found one of them in the fridge with some soggy chicken that had clearly been sitting there for days. It looked gross, so I tossed it. When she got home and realized I threw away her food, she got super mad and started loudly talking shit about me on the phone to whoever she was talking to. I ignored it and just went to bed. The next morning, while I was showering and getting ready, she starts yelling at me asking where the trash bags are. I asked which ones, because I had bought the last pack, and there was no way we had finished them. She starts gaslighting me, saying that they were hers from the shop, whatever that means. I was too tired for the drama, so I just gave her the trash bags and told her not to use my stuff anymore. She flipped and said I was unbearable to live with, that I should just leave, and that she wanted me gone. So I said, you know what, fine, I'll leave. Later that day, I went to the leasing office to explain the situation. They gave us 3 options. 1, we both transfer to separate units. 2, we break the lease early. 3, I drop my name from the lease, pay a fee, and she shows proof, pay stubs, that she can afford rent on her own. Later that night, she texted me asking, "Do you want to leave or do you want me to?" I said, "I'll leave." I told the leasing office and asked them to follow up with her for the pay stub so we could move forward. That same day, I went to tour an apartment I'd been eyeing. It was the exact unit I wanted and applied immediately. Fast forward to today, I got approved. I'm moving in tomorrow. But here's where it gets messy again. Oh shit. A few days ago, I asked the leasing office if they'd received their pay stubs. They said no, even though they'd asked her 3 times and she kept saying she'd email them. She never did. So today I texted her again letting her know I'm moving out and that the leasing office still needs her pay stubs. She responds, "I can't." I asked, "What do you mean you can't?" She said she can't send them or she can't afford it. Which she never expressed that she couldn't afford it. Honestly, still didn't know what she meant. I reminded her this was the option she agreed to, and if she wanted to stay, this was what needed to happen. I told her again, I'm moving out. If you want to stay here, that's on you. Then she says, let's just break the lease then. I told her I can't afford that, which is why we agreed I'd just leave and she'd stay. She responds, I don't care about ruining my credit. Oof. I left her undelivered after that. Then 30 minutes later she goes, I guess I have to leave too then. Honestly don't know if she's just being petty, playing games, or genuinely doesn't understand the situation. But tomorrow I'm going back to the leasing office to sort it out once and for all. I feel stuck and frustrated, but I'm also so ready to get out of this toxic situation. Wish me luck. Any advice is welcome. Thanks again to everyone who's been following this journey. It means more than you know. Commodore says to OP after this one, she was bluffing, hoping you'd cave and continue putting up with her bullshit. Starlin says, find out what the total cost of breaking the lease is. Email the leasing office with her on it. Tell them that you're leaving. And last you communicated with the roommate, she wasn't planning on continuing with the lease either. As for what the cost of breaking the lease is, divide that amount by 2, pay your amount, use a tender that you can track with the amount you are responsible for, and let them all know that you'll drop off the money. Then do a follow-up by replying to all and asking the office to confirm your name has been removed and that you paid your portion and they received your payment. Make sure to say that they can follow up with a roommate for her portion. Sounds like eating ramen for months is better than living with this person. And the commenters were absolutely right. She's just playing games at this point, isn't she? I mean, I don't care about ruining my credit, followed by, I guess I have to leave too. It's just manipulation. She's hoping that you'll panic and either stay or pay for the early lease break yourself. The reality of what's happening is obvious. She can't afford the place alone, obviously, but she's too proud to admit it. So instead of being, the adult in the situation and saying, I can't do this financially, she's just going to create chaos and hoping that you'll cave to avoid this mess. But if you was OP in this situation, how would you deal with it? What options are there to deal with this kind of thing? I've never been in a roommate situation myself like that. Whatever the option would be, I'd want out of that place as soon as possible. Maybe a little bit petty at the same time in some form, but what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.